Channel. Hope everybody's doing okay. Hope everybody enjoyed their weekend, enjoyed their Sunday, fun day. Hope everybody had a chance to be at peace, and I hope all is well. All right, let me check my volume, make sure we're good to go. Everybody enjoyed their weekend. Great. Volume sounds great. All right, we're going to start off by reading a couple scriptures and we're going to get straight into it. All right. This is Psalms 33 and 4. For the word of the Lord is right, and all his works are done in truth. Truth, truth, truth. That is the most powerful weapon we have, is this truth, is the truth. Okay? But what if the enemy knows that? What if the enemy knows that the most powerful weapon is the truth? What if the enemy knows that when certain people speak the truth with their spirit, it's like a nuclear weapon? They'll do anything in their power to neutralize it. You know, I'm looking at the world right now, and there's this thing going around the world in politics, geopolitical politics, whatever you want to call it, that Iran can't have nukes. We can't allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And I'm sure that's synonymous with those that they call Black in America. We cannot allow them to have their voice that speaks truth. That is a delete sentence for the wicked ones. I'm telling you, it's a delete sentence. All right. We read one more scripture. If you haven't read this chapter, I suggest you read it. But we're going to just go from Jeremiah 2 and 14. I want to read this one verse right here. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? Basically saying, you know, if this is our home, why don't we have anything? Why are we always playing the servant role? And why is everyone else using our spiritual gifts to get rich? That's what spoiled means. All right. All right. So here, today we're going to be talking about several of some of the brothers that have had an opportunity to have some sort of influence, okay, some sort of platform to spread a message, okay. Typically, that message is Zionist, okay, whether you understand it or not. It's silly, something with sports, something comedy, something singing, something not serious. But as soon as that voice starts speaking truth, it must be silenced. It must be silenced. It must be shut down, if you haven't noticed. All right, so we have a few examples that we're going to go through today. And I'm just going to show you how this game works. How this game works and what I see happening. All right, so here we go. If y'all don't know this interview, this is a very interesting interview that happened a few years ago with Nick Cannon, who's been very famous for a long time, and a guy named Professor Griff. Professor Griff was with, man, I can't even think of the group right now. Oh, I can't even think of the group. Somebody will let me know. I just can't. I'm drawing a blank right now. But yeah, so I can't even think of the name of the group. That kind of hurts my feelings. But anyway, Nick Cannon has a podcast, or had a podcast called Cannon's Class, where he had several different people come on and they just talked about the world basically. Check this out.
So I looked up who is the Semitic people, and there's a list of Semitic people, and anyone can do this right now.
Let me make sure that my let me do that. Let me try that again.
Good look up. Then we're gonna get the word anti-Semitic.
Right.
Who are the Semitic people? And then we're gonna get to the public enemy thing.
Right.
So I looked up who is the Semitic people, and there's a list of Semitic people.
Public Enemy. My bad. Public Enemy. I don't know why I couldn't think of that name for some reason. He was with Public Enemy. Okay. This was back when hip hop and rap was fairly positive. It was fairly positive.
And anyone can do this right now. You can look up who are the Semitic people, what are the Semitic languages.
Right.
Has absolutely nothing to do with any white people.
Right.
Not at all. So in order for me to be anti-Semitic, I'd have to be anti-black man, anti-black woman, anti-black people, anti-Africa, anti-all of the people.
Because the Semitic people
are black people.
Are black people. So y'all get that clarity. We're going to say that again.
Now,
the Semitic people are black people.
So I cannot be anti-Semitic. Now, what do they really use the phrase anti-Semitic to do? That's the thing.
To divide us.
Exactly.
Right.
So they put this title on you, anti-Semitic, and then they neutralize you.
Right.
Separated me from the group.
Right.
Say he's a Jew hater. He hate white people. He hate gay people. He hate all white people with freckles and red hair, whatever.
Right.
And they put that on me, which I never said these things.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I just ran down the history given to me by my elders. And anybody could read this for themselves. Right. So it ain't a Professor Griff hating people thing.
See, that's the thing, right? You're going to notice that hypocrisy throughout. And if you really look back and see how this game is played, according to the narrative, black people couldn't even read. That's what they teach us. They say black people couldn't read. They teach us that the Bible wasn't ours and the people that wrote the Bible was not black people, but they gave it to us anyway, right? And then when we go and read the information that they gave us, according to them, and read it back to them, they call that hate. See, God's going to have to deal with this place. He's going to have to deal with this place because the hypocrisy and the hatred that is shown to people like us is not warranted. It's unjust. Now, Nick Cannon said those words there. Professor Griff said those words there. Those are not threatening words. They're defining what Shemitic is. Okay? He said the Shem had nothing to do with white people being Europeans. And that's an accurate statement. They tried to destroy Nick Cannon based off of this interview here. They did everything in their power to destroy this man. Here is a controlled outlet named The Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club with all your favorites. Matter of fact, do I even have that? No, this is not The Breakfast Club. This is going to be Good Morning America. Check out the response to what Nick Cannon and his guest, Professor Griff, garnered from these wicked people. And they're always going to use a face that looks like ours, y'all. 9 times out of 10, when they come to say that was wrong, especially when it comes to touching Jewish matters, they're going to have some rabbi acting all sensitive, and they're going to use a black face. They do it every single time. Y'all got to watch the technique. Check this out.
Now, with that new fallout for Nick Cannon, the actor, rapper, and television host fired by Viacom overnight following racial and anti-Semitic comments he made on his podcast. Eva Pilgrim has those details for us. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, Robin. Cannon has been on social media tweeting both messages of support and attack. The network saying they fired Cannon after he promoted hateful speech on his podcast on YouTube. Overnight backlash for Nick Cannon after these controversial comments on his podcast, Cannon's Class.
We are the Semitic people. When we are the same people that who they want to be, that's our birthright.
Viacom CBS announcing they are cutting ties with the comedian.
What about the big ear cord?
Who they have had a decades-long relationship with.
So the people that don't have it are a little, and I'm gonna say this carefully, are a little less.
In the June 30th episode of his podcast, Cannon speaking to former Public Enemy member Professor Griff.
The only way that they can act is evil. The only way they have to rob, steal, rape, kill, and
fight or flight, okay,
in order to survive.
Exactly.
So then these people who didn't have what we had And when I say we, I speak of the melanated people.
Right.
They had to be savages.
The 39-year-old host facing criticism for his comments, also accused of perpetuating an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory.
The Rothschilds, centralized banking, the bloodlines that control everything even outside of America.
Cannon, who most recently
See, it's all good when he's playing around, giggling with the mask show and, oh, just be a clown. Make sure you smile. You know, that's all good. That's what we want. We don't want any type of serious talk from you, boy. But once that man starts speaking the truth and leaning into it, we can't have that. And you got to think about the dynamic. I'm going to say this over and over again. You got to think about the dynamic. We're supposed to be the slaves. We don't have nuclear weapons. We don't have F-35 jets. We don't have a standing military. We don't have a spot in the UN. We don't have any of these political weapons to our disposal. Okay? We can't sanction people. We can't tariff countries. All we have is our spirit and our truth and our voice. And guess what? That's all we need. And they know it. It's all fun and games when he's sitting there with the big white guy in a costume. Be a clown. It's all fun and games. What Nick Cannon just said was absolute truth. They are not us. And I'm telling you, people are going to have to wake up and realize what it is. I've been saying this for a while. Those that have been labeled black, the blacks of the Americas, their number one stumbling block or hurdle is going to be letting go of these titles and identities that were given to us by the enemy. Whether it be an Indian, whether it be being called black, whether it be being called Negro, African American, whatever you want to call it. These are slave titles. Let it go. And the number one hurdle for quote unquote those labeled white is going to be realizing that you do not have the spiritual weaponry to deal with the issue that we have today. It has not been granted to you. It is not your covenant, and it's okay. That's okay. You're going to have to let it go. That's okay. You're going to see that those that have been labeled black in the Americas, we have the keys to the kingdom. You can't call us a Nazi. You can't say we're anti-Semitic. You can't call us gay. You can't call us haters and colonizers and all that. None of that stuff will work with us. We have every advantage. But there's two ways that it has to be used, right? See, the enemy understands that. So what they do is they use our spiritual power and they point it towards a George Floyd. They use our spiritual power and point it towards abortion rights. They use our spiritual power and they point it towards a Barack Obama. They're aiming us. Okay? We need to be dealing with God and truth and love. That's our weapon. A lot of Israelite groups will say, oh, we hate this, hate that. Hate don't win, bro. We're not like them. We don't do well with hate. We don't do well with hate, y'all. Is that not clear by now? Is it not clear that we are not built to hate? Not us. Maybe some people can get along, maybe the Rothschilds, maybe Ben Shapiro, maybe some of these people, Netanyahu, maybe they just operate well under hate. We don't. So it has to be in love and truth and service to God. And we unstoppable. But look how they came after Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon was like America's clown. He was America's clown.
hosted the Fox show The Masked Singer, taking to social media Monday to explain, saying, anyone who knows me knows that I have no hate in my heart nor malice intentions. But Cannon stopped short of apologizing, instead saying, "I hold myself accountable for this moment and take full responsibility." Cannon's long-running show Wild and Out airs on VH1. Viacom CBS saying in a statement overnight that they condemn bigotry of any kind. And Viacom telling ABC News, "We are deeply troubled that Nick has failed to acknowledge or apologize for perpetuating anti-Semitism."
I mean, it just gets under my skin to see how they can frame things any way they want to, and they put it out. And it was sad to see how none of us stood with this guy. We just let these things happen, y'all. This is worse than George Floyd, if you understand what I'm trying to say. It's worse than Rodney King. Because all he did was tell the truth. All right, next example. A lot of y'all don't remember this. A lot of people don't remember Deshaun Jackson put a tweet out. Deshaun Jackson was a wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles. Very electric wide receiver. Super fast, super athletic. He was like an anomaly because he wasn't very big. Okay? Now watch this.
The Philadelphia Eagles superstar Deshaun Jackson said something. He says there's no hatred in his heart. And you want to believe that. However, when you post something that starts with Hitler said, right, it's hard to say you don't have hatred in your heart. But Deshaun is apologizing for what he posted.
No, it's not. If Hitler said it, Hitler said it. What does me saying Hitler said have to do with me hating? What does me saying Hitler said have to do with hating? It just doesn't. You guys are drawing these straight lines, man. One thing Terrence Howard said that made a lot of sense to me was there are no straight lines in nature. But these people draw so many straight lines, it's ridiculous. Because Deshaun Jackson says Hitler said, it's hard to believe he doesn't hate. And according to the narrative that y'all teach us, Hitler would have hated a guy like Deshaun Jackson. According to y'all, that shit don't work.
It is a quote from Minister Farrakhan, but Minister Farrakhan was quoting Hitler, and he said Hitler.
This is beautiful. This thing has been circulating around the internet if y'all haven't seen this particular quote. I'm going to go ahead and read it. It said, Hitler said, because the white Jews knows that the Negroes are the real children of Israel, and to keep America's secret, the Jews will blackmail America. They will extort America. Their plan for world domination won't work if the Negroes knew who they were. The white citizens of America will be terrified to know that all this time they've been mistreating and discriminating and lynching the children of Israel. They will fear God. They will fear God will destroy them as he destroyed Egypt for doing the same thing. So the elite, the Illuminati, keeps this a secret at all costs. And I'm telling you right now, based on what I'm looking at in the world, this is accurate, yo. This looks exactly like what's going on. This explains immigration. This explains untethered support for Benjamin Netanyahu and them. It explains a whole lot. It's accurate. There's nothing in the world today that I can look at and say, no, that's just not true. That fits the narrative, that quote. Regardless of how you feel about it, it just fits the narrative today. And for anyone who's classified as white who watches this and gets feeling some kind of way, man, we not here to hate nobody, yo. But you got to ask yourself a simple question. Why is it in 2026, the so-called blacks of America and all the Americas have not been properly identified? That's an agenda in and of itself. It's just what it is. How do we not know who these people are? How is that still a mystery? But you're telling me about Mars. You're telling me about Jupiter. You're telling me everything that the sun does. But you can't tell me what happened 300-400 years ago. Who are these slaves? Wake up, y'all. And it's going to be better for everybody, yo. And this truth is going to crack the sky. I'm telling you, this truth is going to crack the sky wide open. And you know how it is, right? When you sleep, I like it. When you sleep, right, and it's dark in the room, say it's real, real dark in the room, and somebody comes in all of a sudden and just hits the lights on you. They hit the lights, and what's the first thing people say? Cut that light off. Cut that light off. That's what's happening right now. People don't want to deal with the light.
Said, because the white Jews know that Negroes are the real children of Israel, and to keep America's secret, the Jews will blackmail Americans. This goes on. I don't really want to read more of it. You can.
We should.
You want to read more of it?
They will extort America. Their
Jews,
plan for world domination won't work if the Negroes know who they were. The white citizens of America will be terrified to know that all this time they've been mistreating and discriminating and lynching the children of Israel.
So there you go. So that got the exact amount of backlash you would think it would get.
Now, I can't believe it. This guy on the right, what is he? How can you read that next to this Jewish guy and sit there and just keep a straight face and that not resonate nowhere with you? How's that possible, yo? Who is this guy on the right? That didn't resonate with you, bro? So yeah, they went after Deshaun Jackson, made him apologize and went all after him and called him an anti-Semite, all kinds of madness. Because he said that the blacks of the Americas, or the American blacks, are the Jews. Y'all remember what happened to Kyrie? Cancel him. Control that voice. Control it. It just hits different when we say it. It don't sound the same when Dan Bilzerian says it. It don't sound the same as when Nick Fuentes says it. It don't sound the same. Something about us talking though, it puts fear in their heart.
This is the Rumor Report with Angela Yee on the Breakfast Club.
So listen up.
All right, well, we've been talking about Kyrie Irving for quite some time now and the things that he has to complete in order to be able to rejoin the Nets. You know, he has to issue a verbal apology and condemn the film that he posted, share the apology on social media, complete sensitivity training, meet with Jewish leaders in the Brooklyn community, meet with Joe Tsai, who's the owner of the Nets.
Keep in mind, this is a slave, y'all. He's just a slave. Y'all wonder about what a slave has to say? And notice how it's always 6 things they want you to do. It's always 6. Never 8, never 9, never 10. Always 6.
And make a $500,000 donation to anti-hate causes.
He did a lot of that already, though, right? He apologized for it. He condemned some of it.
Well, he did.
He gave the money, but they gave the money back.
He did meet yesterday with the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, and they said it was a very, quote,
And Charlemagne the God is an industry plant bitch nigga. I'm going to say that right now. Hide the kids. Fuck Charlemagne the God. Fuck everybody who stands with that weak ass, punk ass bitch. This is a fucking bitch nigga. The worst of us. The lowest of us. He always fucking caping. He gave some of the money. They gave the money back. Dirty ass nigga. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't like that shit. What high school did this dude come from? Y'all let this dude sit around y'all high school, man, talking shit like that? Where'd this dude come from? Where do they find these dudes?
productive and understanding visit. And according to reports, Adam Silver was furious with Kyrie after several opportunities to denounce anti-Semitism and the contents of the film. He said he would meet with him in person to address the matter. A lot of people are weighing in and saying what they think. Here is Nick Cannon, who sat down with Jonathan Greenblatt, the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League. The two of them talked about the incident and what they both think.
I can wholeheartedly say I know Kyrie Irving is not anti-Semitic.
When given the chance to say, are you anti-Semitic or not, he didn't say, no, I'm not anti-Semitic. And the movie is saying white Jews invented the Holocaust and 6 million Jews didn't get killed. Okay, I know that isn't right.
Right.
There's a gigantic historical record.
There's not a gigantic historical record. That's a fucking lie. There's things out there that suggest different. That's all I'm going to say on that. Okay? There is an opposing view to that particular story. Regardless of what side of the aisle you're going to fall on, to act like that shit is not contested, to act like there isn't evidence out there that suggests otherwise is a fucking lie. That's just what it is. We got to cut out the bullshit, bro. Everybody's bullshit and everybody's fake. I don't care either way, but don't act like a motherfucker ain't saying something else out there.
Jewish people know when you dehumanize us this way, we know what's around the corner.
Those are the tropes that dehumanize Jewish people. The slave masters would bring the one that gets out of line. So all the other slaves would see lash after lash showed them the power to set an example. So when we see the 6 things that Kyrie must do to get his job back, right, that's dehumanizing.
All right, now, like I said, a lot of people are weighing in. So Jaylen Brown from the Boston Celtics is also the vice president of the Players Association, said that he thinks those requirements are way too harsh. He said after Kyrie meets with Silver, he hopes that the league and the Players Association can set guidelines to better handle similar situations in the future.
Man, we still slaves, y'all. Those that are labeled black here, man, y'all know we still slaves, right? And you got the taskmasters. These are your taskmasters. Angela Yee is your fucking taskmaster. Charlamagne the God is your taskmaster. Al Sharpton is your taskmaster. Barack Obama was your taskmaster. Michelle Obama, your taskmaster. We still slaves. How you gonna label somebody black as the fucking threat when we're supposed to be the fucking slaves? I'm sorry for my language tonight, but I'm not fucking playing with these people. Remember when Joe Budden, a lot of this shit went over people's head. I want y'all to listen to what Joe Budden said on his podcast and watch this. I want y'all to listen to what he said. This is during the Drake. Drake is a rapper, for those who don't know, and the Kendrick Lamar beef. Kendrick mopped the floor with Drake, okay? And this is the aftermath of it. Watch what Joe Budden says, and then we're going to look at what happened later. Check it out. This is really, really interesting.
Or he's a selfish...
Nobody caught this. I don't think anybody caught this but me. That's why you need to be subscribed to this channel. I don't think nobody caught this but me. Watch what Joe Budden says, and then I'm going to show you something later on. Watch this.
Or he's a selfish...
He's talking about Drake. This is Joe Budden talking about Drake. I want to set it up right. This is Joe Budden on his podcast talking about Drake. Drake is Jewish. Drake's father is a quote-unquote African-American, but his mother's Jewish. Drake had a bar mitzvah. That makes Drake Jewish. Deal with it.
Or he's a selfish, lying, manipulative sack of shit who has made enemies for 15 years, and now we're here at the fucking boiling point.
They both could be true.
You've been behind the scenes being the biggest sack of shit you can possibly be. I'm not here to fucking play games with you niggas. Niggas know what it is out there. That's it. And he's fucking white. And he's Jewish. And he had too much dip on this shit. You have been behind the scenes. And he's Jewish. 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 And he had too much dip on his shit. You have been behind the scenes, hitting niggas' baby moms, sending money to niggas' baby. Yo, dog, you been back and sending messages to this nigga's wife, talking shit about fucking, hey, but this nigga's mom died. Hey, all that's cool, but where my beat at, nigga? I don't give a fuck that your mom died. Or he's a selfish
Now, you heard it. You heard it. Now, there was this undertone about Drake being Jewish, little secret. He's Jewish. Joe Budden went off and said that, right? From my understanding, they took this episode down or either hid it behind a paywall heavy. Okay? Watch what happened to Joe Budden weeks later. It wasn't that much longer after that. This is what happened to Joe Budden. And y'all think I'm playing. I'm going to show you this clip first, then I'm going to read it to you if you think I'm fucking playing. This is what they made Joe Budden do. This is what I think happened.
You know
Remember this scene?
Yeah. Now look, you are going to give up those apartments. Yes, sir. And you are going to turn over control of the Carter to the brothers. Yes, sir. Oh, yes. How we do? I guess the shotgun goes off and blows your big fat head off clean before you can get your clothes back.
Y'all think I'm playing? Y'all know Joe Budden got shortly after this rant right here. Joe Budden made headlines following an incident on December 4th, 2024, where he was caught completely naked on a neighbor's doorbell camera attempting to enter an apartment in his New Jersey building. Budden and his legal team maintained he was sleepwalking, and he was later cleared of criminal wrongdoing. It is of my opinion that after he said this shit, they made him do this. That's what I think, and I have every right to think that. Because that shit came out of nowhere. Now, there's an episode with Joe Budden explaining how everything went down. Joe Budden he missed like a month's worth, I don't know how long worth of his podcast behind this shit. He missed some time. And the judge just so happened to schedule every court date about this particular case on the day that they did their podcast, which lets me know or tells me and gives me the gut feeling that shit was on purpose. Because y'all got to look at these contracts. People will tell you about some of these podcast contracts. If they miss a day of podcasting, they lose big money. The contract says if we're podcasting on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and you miss a Friday, that's a big chunk of money that you lose. Come out of your quote unquote check. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the judge scheduled that shit on every podcast day. That was his punishment. That's my opinion. I don't know what y'all think, but that's what I think happened. He said Drake was Jewish and brought that into the play. Okay? And I'm telling you, this is during the same time after Ye had said everything he said about Jewish control over the black voice. Here comes Joe Budden popping off. Now he's out there outside the Carter. Now they got him outside the Carter. They got Joe Budden outside the Carter. Don't do it again. He been quiet as a church mouse since like that. He ain't popped off like that no more. I tell you that shit. I tell you that. And see, sometimes they have to do it to their own people too. This is going to be the last example for tonight. Sometimes they have to do it to their own people. Okay? This man right here named Arthur Kessler is a Jewish man. He wrote a book called The 13th Tribe right here. This book called The 13th Tribe basically exposed the whole operation about Jewishness, right? In this book, this man basically proves that Jewish people were a part of an empire called the Khazarian Empire. Some of y'all may have heard of that. Maybe y'all have not. But Arthur Kessler wrote this book. It went crazy. And everybody started questioning, who are these Jewish people? Are they the true seed of Jacob? Or are they converts from the Khazarian Empire? Okay? Now keep in mind, this man was a highly esteemed author up until this book. Okay? Let's see what happened to old Arthur. Let's see what happened to Arthur here. So he wrote the book. And I'm just going to read this right here. In 1976, Kessler was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And in 1979 with terminal leukemia. That's what they say. Who knows, right? On 1 March 1983, Kessler and his wife Cynthia died, quote unquote, died. I'm not on camera tonight, but died, quotations, of suicide together at their London home by swallowing lethal quantities of barbiturate-based tunal capsules. Now, word on the street is they got rid of this guy because of this book. And many people are referencing this book. I own a copy of this book. Not only did he say that Jewish people are Khazarians, he also said that the true Israelites could be found in the ghettos of America. And then, mysteriously, he committed suicide with him and his wife. Control. Y'all know the song from Janet. Control those voices. So they'll do it to their own. Allegedly. All right. And my only thing I want to get through during this whole podcast or stream tonight is that, listen, man, we can't be afraid to speak the truth, man. We got to stop being afraid of the truth, bro. Okay. We cannot continue to live like this. We cannot want to pass this world on to our children. What the fuck are we doing out here? Who the fuck do these people think they are to control the earth like that? Are you kidding me? And we sit back and watch and think, oh, you better keep his mouth shut. Anybody who has that, you should keep your mouth shut type mentality, fuck you and your mama. Fuck you and your mama. You are a fucking slave and you're not going to make it. We have a right to fucking speak, yo. Period. And I almost think they set up this whole thing about racism and stuff like that. And they made us feel like people were racist towards us. And then they kind of made us feel some kind of way through the propaganda to make us feel sensitive about people saying things about quote unquote black people. So that one day when people started looking at these people and realizing what they are and what they do, that once we cried out to say, hey, the man who did this to me was Jewish, that they would already have a fucking foundation set in place. We have to have the freedom of speech. We shall have it. We don't care about their stuff. Nothing that these people, nothing that this world has given us, that y'all think is giving us, is something we can't live without. They don't give life, man. God gives life. They don't control the water. Okay, the internet. So what? We can live without internet for a time if it comes down to that. All right? And I'm going to leave with this right here. There's going to come a time here real soon because we are approaching that time. We are approaching that time of a exodus. Some people call it the awakening. Some people call it this. Some people call it that. Whatever you want to call it. But we are hitting that fork in the road where you're going to have to make a choice between life and death. And fear not going to cut it. The only weapon we have is the truth, our spirit, and our voice. That's it. And guess what? That's perfect because that's all we need. That's all we need. Don't be afraid of these people. When someone gets up and stands up and has the courage to say something like Nick Cannon said, to make a post like Deshaun Jackson made, to say the things that Ye has said, to post a link like Kyrie did, we got to stand with our people, bro. White or black, whatever you're classified as. You stood with George fucking Floyd. You stood for him. You can't stand with Nick. You can't stand with Kyrie. You can't stand with Ye. But you can stand with fucking George Floyd. Quit letting these people fuck with us, bro. Fuck these people, man. They are not strong. Strong people don't tell lies. Strong people don't tell lies, yo. And with that being said, I love y'all. I love y'all, man. And we're going to get free. We are going to get free. And it's going to be beautiful. You'll see. I love y'all. And I'll see you next.